There is shots where, yes, we see the henchmen land from the Zeppelin, the dirigible, whatever it is, and they're dead.
Hey there, Toonami faithful, and welcome back aboard Toonami Absolution, where we talk about the shows that made us us and the shows that made you you. Once again, we are your hosts. My name is Alex.
I'm Sam.
And I'm John, Batman the Animated Series, and Nothing to Fear and The Last Laugh, debuting September 15th, 1992 and September 22nd, 1992. Obviously, see last week, we're doing production order, so those dates are always going to be a bit weird. But we get our first Scarecrow episode with Nothing to Fear.
Scarecrow is probably my favorite. I mean, there's a lot to be said about the Joker because a lot of people have something to say with the Joker, but Scarecrow is probably my favorite Batman villain just because there's a lot I think you can do with the character. I always like the idea of characters that kind of get into other characters' psyches, which is kind of his entire shtick, albeit in one very concentrated direction. It's always about fear. But
Always about
what do you I forget. Did you meet Malcolm McDowell?
me. Yes,
Yeah.
he kind of sucks.
Okay.
As a person, he kind of sucks.
I was trying to remember if you hated him or not. Right.
I don't hate the man. It was not a positive interaction, and it's like, oh, okay, that's kind of sucks.
Cross
Like,
him off the guest list.
yeah, just sorry, Mr. McDowell. Maybe you chilled. Is he still alive?
Yeah.
I believe so.
Oh
Yeah.
shit. Well, he's
I have
not
bad
gonna
form
live.
for this, so I wouldn't trust my answer.
He outlasted Terrence Stamp. Yes.
Oh,
I mean, fair. It's a fair question. But yeah, Scarecrow. I like Scarecrow. I also feel like Scarecrow's a lot harder to write than a lot of people would assume for what he is. But I like this version of Scarecrow a lot. I've always enjoyed him. I like the differences in his voice. I like his mousy little look. Like I like that.
yeah, Scarecrow's, I think, is one of those villains that Batman the Animated Series loved because technically nothing he does is real, meaning standards and practices can't really do anything about it. It's like, there's all these monsters scary that attack you, but it's not real, so technically no violence has occurred.
That's true.
The other thing, especially when it comes to Batman, the animated series specifically, I feel like he's the villain who gets redesigned the most, or certainly the most radically.
Yeah.
What do we think of his like light bulb headed form in this episode?
I kind of like it because he looks like an utter dork. This Scarecrow design for me fits Crane the most. It's not the best Scarecrow design, but if a nerdy little dweeby professor who was angry about tenure became a supervillain, this is how he would dress.
I like the spirit of Halloween energy to it because I think the thing that it's easy to forget about with Batman villains is that they don't really come out the gate as costumed villains who are like trying to be like the next big thing. They're usually like people who have been disavowed from academia in some way that go to the local spirit of Halloween, which in Gotham City is all year, and then they pick something up. And that's I like that. I do like the new adventures design because I think it looks great, but that's a different conversation.
Do you think in Gotham, it's like Spirit Halloween is like gun stores now, where they have to like a 2 day hold on any costume you buy? Like they have to do a background check. It's like, have you been angered by by Gotham Society recently? No. Well, we're gonna have to run a check just to make sure.
Just to be okay. I
Are you
mean,
living in a chemical plant currently? No.
it's like if you're in this is a New York thing, and I know that it's everywhere, but if you have an empty storefront by the time like August, September roll around, you best believe there's going to be a spirit of Halloween in there. And I cannot believe that there wouldn't be like 50 of them on every corner in Gotham City.
Now they must have done a Harley Quinn episode where it's like Harley and all the villains go on like a Halloween shopping trip to get their costumes for the year. If not, I'm pitching that for me.
That's a good
I
script. I'd read
I,
that.
I could write that. I'm poor. I will work for literal peanuts. To be fun in this episode, there is a lot of talk that Bruce Timm has on Scarecrow in the production notes in the episode guide. Because, like,
Hmm.
he says, we drew him as if his body was all busted up, giving him this really weird Scarecrow posture, all very bent and twisted. However, when Dong Yang animated him, they straightened him out. So I
I
think
can
he's
see
meant to be like more hunched and kind of, but yeah, the animator's like, okay, he's gonna walk normally.
it's it's kind of like in Star Trek when they used to have Spock in like green makeup, but the color touch-up artist would like remove the green from the final product. I always like that little production thing that happens.
I also think the spirit of it's still there because he still kind of like defaults to like T-Rex hands quite often.
Also so teeny tiny. He's so skinty. I do have to admit I like the interactions he has with his like his henchmen. There's like a weirdly personal relationship between Scarecrow and his two guys that I kind of appreciate.
I love how they keep rolling their eyes at him, and then the actual shock they have was like, oh, he's actually a professor, like actually, not just lying to us. I love that. Uh,
I you were talking about standards and practices earlier, John, and I there is shots where yes, we see the henchmen land from the Zeppelin, the dirigible, whatever it is, and they're dead. Let's
They're
be
oh yeah,
honest.
absolutely done.
They land on a canopy, they land in like a garden fountain or whatever. They're dead.
yeah.
They're gone.
You got to remember, it's not the fall that kills you; it's the sudden stop, and those are still very sudden stops. Um, yeah, it's also why they made a really good choice having Batman be this kind of 50s noir setting because it means you can have awnings literally everywhere to catch people.
Yeah.
I
Talking
mean,
of
go ahead.
his guy, I love his minions thing. Something we're going to see a lot because a big thing the animated series had is that everybody gets minions because every villain needs someone to talk to deliver exposition, deliver their backstory. So we're going to see every guy get certain goons coming forward. This will, of course, eventually lead to Harley Quinn because the Joker needed someone to talk, who could talk to him and ask him. Specifically, they mentioned every villain needs someone to ask them questions because obviously Scarecrow isn't going to tell you. So you need guys to go like, "Hey, boss, what we doing?" So they can relate. Yeah, and this it's more natural than having them talk to themselves. So yeah, we're going to see a lot of these kind of unnamed themed goons around.
I don't there's something about these goons and the questions they were asking, and especially when they're going in for the money and the Scarecrow is like, I don't care about the money, I'm gonna burn this place down, take whatever you want, but you better be out of here soon. Like I enjoyed the energy of that, and I think that it's missing a lot of times with the henchmen. I like henchmen with personality.
Yeah. And I think we get some of that with Two-Face later in the season, but
Oh, I love his henchmen, they're great.
yeah, of course they have to be twins. But the uh
Was that a casting call?
yeah.
Really quick sidebar, what do you think the Craigslist ads are to get like henchmen to join your like supervillain team? Like how where are they going to get these guys? Because they can't all be part of like the crime families, you know?
So this
Facebook.
is like yeah, it's a pre-internet Gotham, so I assume there's like some underground zine that gets circulated around like a recruitment tool.
I kind of like imagine, yeah, like in the old days, how you'd have day dock workers, so they'd all just gather on the docks, and the foreman would come out and go, you. I like to imagine they all kind of meet up in the morning and like joke, like Joker, Two Face, they're all having coffee. It's like, oh, I'll take him. Joker,
I think
let me look at your teeth.
yeah.
Do you think that's a bit at all? Do you think like I don't know, the ventriloquist and the penguin have to argue with each other over who gets which guys?
I mean,
No one
isn't the
argues with
like
ventriloquists anymore because they can't decide who to argue with, and it's unfair because there's two of you and one of me.
yeah, I mean, isn't that kind of like a undercurrent in like No Man's Land where they get into like literal turf wars and
Oh
It's
and
just
yeah.
a,
stuff
it's
once
just a
Gotham gets
cat,
wrecked.
just a cattle auction going once, going twice.
Yeah. Yeah, there's probably a story somewhere out there that I'm now kind of like floating out to the internet ether, so someone's gonna run with it about like the perspective of Gotham from its like underlings. Like
There
there's
has to be one of the Batman Adventures comic books must have that.
yeah, it's like
We gotta find that book.
Yeah, Joker might kill you. He might turn you into a smiling person, but the payouts are massive.
Ugh. Only Joker provides dental.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Only Joker gives dental.
Joker doesn't care about the money, so you can probably keep all of it. Like Penguin's going to want like half it to run his club. Joker
Yeah.
probably doesn't care.
I, is this the because animated series, to its credit, very wisely didn't try to retell the Batman origin, unlike Superman the animated series, which spent 3 episodes retelling the origin. Um, is this as much of Bruce Wayne's backstory that we get in BTAS?
I want to say no. I feel like we get another. I think we do get to see the shooting at some point. I don't remember when, but I have like a vague memory of seeing the shooting.
We see it in one of the Justice League episodes,
Yeah.
right? We see it in
Yes.
their version of the man who has everything. But
Yeah.
I think this is the most existential. This and like the episode Perchance to Dream is as existential and deep as we really get with Batman, I think, at least for this first run of episodes.
If I recall, we do see it a couple more times, but it's always in this flashback format. We never like have like the full flashback backstory. We just get little snippets of Bruce remembering his father, usually in situations like this where he's being told off by his dad.
Like also really quick, like can we the doctor who Bruce meets early on, like what an out of pocket thing to say to a person who watched their dad get shot in front of them. Like you're a psychologist, man. What the hell?
What an absolute dickhead as well.
Like
He's
you've
just
never met this guy.
Yeah, and he's probably still, I mean, Bruce is there probably because he's not saying that money buys you Teflon, though that might be under suspect these days, but it's yeah, I mean Bruce is probably very generously funding the university. Like that's why he's there. Um and yeah,
What an
he gets completely thrown back into his face. It's like, I know this is gonna hurt you, so I'm gonna definitely say it and I'm gonna rub it in your face.
even Summer Gleason is like, my god, this guy's an asshole. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a journalist, but like, this guy, fuck him.
it just like for some like that particular like I feel like Scarecrow pulled some stuff here, but I feel like that guy was way worse than Scarecrow in his interaction with Batman.
Well, it also begs the question, would Scarecrow's fear toxin have manifested the same way if he didn't just come off that very like we're gonna reopen this old wound and we're gonna like pour some salt into it.
It,
Like
Scare-
it
it's rough.
Scarecrow has a habit of getting lucky, of targeting people whose phobias just happen to be things that knock them out. Like, rather than the phobia that makes you go into fight or flight and kill scarecrows.
Yeah. Well, there's a bunch of people in the end of the episode where that he gasses and they're like, you know what? I'm scared of this, but there's also a giant bat thing, so let's just go ahead and mob on
yeah,
that real
they're gonna
quick.
beat the crap out of that giant bat. That giant bat's scary.
Yeah,
Like
there must be a time where he's like sprayed someone, turns out their phobia is Wurzel Gummidge, and they've just dived on him and started tearing lumps out of him.
Yeah.
I'm about to make a controversial statement, so
Mhm.
buckle up, kids. I this is the main reason why I have issues with Batman Begins. Like one of the main reasons is because I think that everything that's done with Scarecrow is nowhere near as creative and interesting and cool as the character can be, and this like cool in like a conceptual way. I think that this does it really well. I think the Arkham games just absolutely are phenomenal with that character.
I think when it comes to Scarecrow in film, which is just Cillian Murphy, but I think in that movie, Scarecrow is really just an extension of the movie's themes, which is fear and overcoming fear. Not so much that he's a fully rounded character, because as soon as they can ditch him for Ra's al Ghul, they're like, let's go to this guy
Don't you
instead.
mean Ra's al Ghul?
Rich Al
Other
Ghul.
other issues I have with that movie.
Oh yeah, that's right. They do pronounce it Roz in that film, don't
They call him Ra's al Ghul in the movie.
they? Yeah.
I think
I was
Raven.
gonna let you have that one, but I was like, that's right. They do call him. That was yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Scarecrow
Yeah.
is just hard to do in live action. He's good for animated because you can blur the lines between fiction and reality a lot. Like the last shot of this when Batman gasses him and he sees Batman as a giant bat monster and it's cutting between the two. You just couldn't do that in live action because one of the two sides is going to look goofy.
Oh, they because they do it in the movie, right?
They
Yeah,
Isn't
do.
and
it like a big like monolithic like bleeding thing?
And it's
it,
bad.
yeah, it looks awful. Here they can just flow between the two. It's really natural and it works really well. And obviously, when you do the hallucination stuff in live action, it's like, okay, which is the hallucination? Is it the thing that's clearly made in Blender? I think it might be the thing that's clearly made in Blender.
I do have a special appreciation for Jonathan Crane, especially because this is before when we get to the comics when he gets to be a Yellow Lantern for like 5 minutes, and then the Yellow Lanterns are like, actually, Batman is scarier than you are. And he
Oh,
gets to be the Yellow Lantern instead. So I kind of appreciate that. He's scary, but not as scary as Batman.
Yeah, they intercept him if I remember correctly. He gets it and he's like awesome, and then like Hal Jordan and Kyle Rayner are like, nah, man.
Nah. Sorry, bro.
You
Like,
don't get this one. We were
Mad Hatter's
anticipating.
up the line before you, unfortunately.
but
Yeah.
this is a continued theme in Batman the Animated Series, with the exception of the Joker. Pretty much every villain gets like this origin story of like why they turned to villainy, and 9 times out of 10, the problem is capitalism.
It's very 1940s, and everybody had like some interaction with high society, and they're now very angry about it.
I think that's pulp villainy in general. I mean, you kind of look at a lot of Dick Tracy's villains, and they're like, society scorns me for this physical and ableist, commentary. So now I will embrace it and become babyface or whatever it is, or prune face. My favorite Dick Tracy villain, not to get too far in the Dick Tracy world, but if I can, uh,
We have stuff in common.
Can't have too much
Dick
dick.
Tracy villain whose name is just influence.
Oh
It's like a
yeah.
crapper, man.
I always like the movie when they do the rundown of all the villains, and then you get Madonna at the end as Breathless Mahoney. It's like
Yeah.
weirdo, 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 Madonna, weirdo.
You gotta love when it's like in the Scarlet Letter when the little girl is named Pearl, when you're not a character, you're a symbol. Like that's kind of the same. That's the Dick Tracy energy right there. Like,
If you do
but
look a bit
I
in,
do I like Bruce in this a lot too. I just want to talk about Bruce.
this is a really nice. Again, it's because they have a Bruce who can be vulnerable. Like Bruce literally has a moment with Alfred where he's like, "Hey, I am not doing well."
I love that moment with Alfred where he is the first one to say stop, full stop. Your father will be proud of you because I'm proud of you. Like that's such a good moment. It's so good. Man, I love this Alfred too. This is a great Alfred.
Oh, it's Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. from Horror of Dracula, or as people not in the United States knew it in 1959, just Dracula. Yeah.
Just Dracula.
But for
But
something about how messy this production was, there's a really interesting Bruce Timm comment about this episode, which is Henry Gilroy was a film editor here and always wanted to get into writing, so they had him write this script. At the time, we didn't have a story editor, so we gave it a go. When he turned in his first draft, which wasn't bad, we hired our first story editor, Sean Derrick. We immediately came to loggerheads over this episode. Some of the dialogue she changed wasn't for the better. So yeah, we are in production of this show, and we're literally still hiring roles. And a
that's
lot of episode writers are guys that Bruce Timm knew, and like, I've always wanted to try. I've done comics or I've done filming, and I've also tried and never had a chance. And Bruce Timm's like, well, why don't you have a go? Here's our multi-billion DC franchise. Knock yourself out.
it it is interesting though, because we say it is a multi-billion DC franchise, but if you remember like this period of comic books in like the 80s going into the 90s, this is a down period for comic books and comic book sales. Like,
It's so for Batman, sure.
yeah,
This is right around the time. This is right before the death of Superman.
this is right before Death of
Yeah,
Superman.
Death of Superman is like 93. This is 92. So it's like, which blows up DC until Superman comes back and they're like, oh, okay. Well, let's break Batman now. Um,
Well, well,
Marvel's firing on all cylinders. You've still have Chris Claremont for a little bit on X-Men before he's replaced by Scott Lobdell. You've got Todd McFarlane and Eric Larson and all these great guys on Spider-Man. But yeah, DC is kind of yeah,
DC's in a downswing
yeah.
around this time period, especially like because we're going to be going into we're in the dark age of comics, and it's going to be life. It's been Liefelding it up, but it's going to get more Liefeldy as time goes on. Like it's
well,
an interest. This hits at a very interesting time period for Batman specifically, like
it
as a
also is
franchise.
the era where the racks are going, which is the worst decision both DC and Marvel ever made, was removing the racks and going into specialist stores. But we should talk about the last laugh, because we have
Oh,
more Jokerisms, and I love this episode for one specific thing.
Captain
So
Clown.
obviously, huh?
Captain Clown.
Captain Clown is.
Captain Clown.
I do love Captain Clown. He is relevant. So yeah, Joker has this garbage that drives you crazy, like all garbage. But he has a robot called Captain Clown who Bruce puts in a crusher. And Bruce Timm's comment in the episode guide is, during this episode, we found out that we could beat the crap out of him because he's a robot. It was great. We didn't know if he'd get away with that, but we took a chance. We had Batman pick up a pipe and bash him in the head, and there was no objection. So Bruce Timm marks this episode as the moment they realised standards and practices do not care as long as we say it's a robot. Regardless of what it looks like, if we say robot, We can do whatever the hell we like.
I I like that moment after he pushes the robot into the crusher the first time, and Batman's just like that genuine relief of having done it and then having to pull the left. Like there's some I love the physicality of Bruce Timm Batman so much. Like this is a dude who is struggling.
I love Batman with a pipe.
Batman with a pipe.
It's cool to see. Like they do the sort of the super prepared stuff here, but it's also still cool to see times where Batman does have to work off the environment a lot more. And at the end of the day, Batman has a lot of gadgets, but he's still a horrifically competent brawler who can take out most people in one-on-one fights.
Including an opponent that's like clearly physically superior.
Including a robot.
Yeah, I mean, I love this episode for the like weird melody, which I think is just isolate. I don't think they ever reuse it. I think it's just this episode, this kind of like groovy kind of like Gotham, as this like garbage scow is going through the city, spreading Joker toxin.
I love how
Spreading
whenever we cut back to Joker, we get an accordion added as well.
Yeah.
the the use of leitmotif in this era of like WB shows, I am such a huge dork for leitmotif usage at this period of time because they still had the full orchestra, and the full orchestra makes such a difference for shows like these and like Animaniacs and all that. Like it shows how much that makes things better.
Warner Brothers still had money, and they're like this remember this is a movie tie-in show technically too.
Yeah.
They still got some Warner Brothers still riding high in 1992. Um
It, it's amazing how the orchestral pieces all the episodes we've seen do a really good job of helping them compress time because they do a really good job. Like we don't the scene with Joker and his guys stealing from people as they're laughing isn't that long, but thanks to the music, you get the impression this is a much bigger thing. It immediately conveys, okay, this is the tone of this episode. This is what you should be feeling in a really nice way.
Last week, I don't remember which one of you mentioned this feeling like a radio play, but I think that the music has a big place in making it feel like The Shadow or even like the old Batman or Blue Beetle radio plays. Like I appreciate that. I like that vibe.
yeah, I think that's kind of where I also get the some of the Dick Tracy connection of it all. Because it is of that kind of pulp 30s and 40s era. That's one of the things I think I love about Batman that maybe doesn't get stated enough. That he's like one of the pulp heroes, unlike the Spirit or Doc Savage, who made it, who survived. Not saying, I mean, obviously, like you'll get the occasional Dark Doc Savage comic or whatever, or you'll get the Spirit movie that came out in 2009 that I saw in theaters.
I mean, you can make an argument for the question, like, but
The question,
that
yeah, being, I mean, all the Charlton characters kind of getting repurposed, and once they got reintegrated into DC, but like Batman is the pulp hero that made it, and still makes it.
He's certainly the only one who has become more popular with time rather than. And I think that he's probably the only one who has become not just one of the pulp heroes. He is Batman. He is a genre unto himself. You have
I
things that
mean,
are Batman like.
how many DC Batman centric comics does DC publish on a monthly basis?
I don't. I'm trying to
Like,
think.
oh my god.
It's at least four at the moment.
oh God, I mean, it's probably half of their regular publishing schedule,
I
right?
mean, are we
Counting
counting like the villain spin-offs too, like the Harley Quinn spin-offs and like all that kind of thing?
Oh god,
Yeah,
then it'll be the entire shop.
yeah, Nightwing, Batgirl.
Bat Family, which has its own thing, like
Yeah,
I'm
it's Robin. It's a lot. It's a
yeah.
modern comic book stores are Batman, Spider-Man, other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Batman, Spider-Man. If you're not into comics, you don't know who the rest are.
Yeah. I walk into a comic book shop. I'm like, so do you have sort of Aquaman? They're like, get out of here.
Get out. They just kick you all the way out.
They just pull a gun from under the desk. We don't take kindly to your types around here.
Also, we talked about it last week, but I do want to talk about it again. The chemistry between Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy is so palpable every time they get to act together. Like the last scene with them in this episode is so good. It's like you're not really gonna drop me, are you, Batman?
What sells that is the lackadaisical look on Batman's face as he's hanging on the railing.
I there is a a soft spot in my heart for when Batman is written as having this kind of like Batman and Joker having like a twisted little affection for each other. Like I've always enjoyed that, not for Fujoshi reasons, but for like writing reasons. I think that's a great version of their relationship where it's like these two are diametrically opposed, but they kind of need each other to exist.
One of
So,
my favorite
oh,
lines in this to is that when Joker goes like when Batman, I can't remember what the joke is. Batman says something, and Joker's like, "Hey, you made a joke. Oh, you're gonna clean up your act, Joker." And
mhm.
that is the most genuine Joker sounds in this entire episode, and it causes him to trip and fall. He is in that moment like genuinely happy that oh hey look, technically
Yeah.
I've won here. I made you make a funny, even though it's gonna kill me for nearly kill me. It's worth it.
We're bonding.
Yeah, I like the idea of Batman and the Joker having a familiarity and kind of that connection. I don't necessarily like it when it goes like full Hannibal Lecter and Will Graham, where it's like we're
No,
meant
I
for
get that.
each other. Like, when it goes a little more psychosexual. I remember Grant Morrison when they were doing like Arkham Asylum and when they were doing their own Batman run, they
But they were
explored.
gonna put him in the Madonna outfit.
Yeah, yeah, they explored a bit of that. Not saying that Joker can't be a psychosexual character, but it does change the dynamic somewhat, you know?
I,
I
I
I,
think it makes it
I
too
like them being
simple.
frenemies, not so much like a morally opposed couple.
I think it's too simple to add a sexual layer to it. Like it's easy to say that two people want to have sex with each other, but for two people to just need each other in a cosmic way that's kind of undefinable, I think is very interesting.
It's kind
Yeah.
of kindred spirits there. You know, the idea that we've both been through something really terrible, and I hate you, but I can empathize with the point how you got to this point. And I said I always still think, especially in animated series, there's always that idea that Joker is still a man, and that Bruce kind of holds it as his. If I can just break through, there'll be just one moment, like a little crack one day, and then that'll be it. And then I can finally say that I've done it. And if he can be saved, so can I.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
I mean
there's
that. Oh,
no, well, I was just gonna say there's that personal element to it that I appreciate. And that's why I think that this version of Mr. Freeze and Two-Face work better because they have a personal history with Batman and Bruce Wayne. But yeah, I could see that extending to Joker to a degree. Not to mention if we're talking psychosexual, like people on opposite sides of the law, you already satisfy that dynamic with Catwoman, to a degree.
and
Uh,
several other characters.
and several other characters, Talia al Ghul, there, the list goes on.
Everyone wants a
But
bit of
yeah,
bat.
sure. Yeah. Yeah, Clayface.
Clayface.
But yeah, no, all in all, another two bangers here.
I mean, that not before we get into final thoughts, just wanted to, not the horrible animated version, but Alan Moore touches on this very well in Killing Joke in the last panels where Joker tells his joke and they're both laughing, and you can't tell if Batman is strangling him or not. And I like that to me is kind of the perfection of that relationship where it's like it's so in shadow that even you don't know what's going on. And I think you see shades of that in Hamill and Conroy's performance. But since we're getting close to the end, what are our final
Oh,
thoughts, my friends?
just before we
Oh,
round off, I want to note that for more production fun, you'll note the ending of this episode doesn't quite make sense with Bruce going on about how he feels like he'll never be clean again. This is referenced by Kevin Altieri, the episode director. It's other than the dialogue, what you see on screen doesn't really resemble the script at all. In the original, Batman kept getting garbage dumped on him. That is why they make a big thing about Bruce repeatedly showering by the end, because Joker was meant to be continually dropping garbage on him.
I
Uh,
wish we'd gotten that.
it
All right,
still makes sense. They're fighting on a garbage
they
scow.
are still fighting on a garbage scow.
It's
Like
just weird that Ellen's like, oh, I'll never be clean again. So, but you're in lava, Bruce. That's like the cleanest place to be.
that's true.
Um, in terms of final thoughts, another two bangers. Love to see Scarecrow in the mix. For the record, since Alex invoked the Killing Joke, I do think that in that version of the story, obviously it's been canonized that it's not. But in the version that Alan Moore and Brian Boland created, I do think Batman kills the Joker.
Ooh, actually, yeah. So, John, what do you think? Do you think
Yeah,
Batman
I think he's
kind of
definitely. I think he's definitely killing him in this one.
Yeah.
In that one, he's definitely. It's too set up to not be that the fine. It fits the joke as well, the punchline. Yeah,
Also, someone as important as Alan Moore, of course, Alan Moore would secretly write the last Batman Joker story, wouldn't he?
yeah.
They didn't let him do it with the Charlton characters, though. Just throwing it out there. They did not
Oh
let
no.
That's why he's become a hobbit, an angry, angry hobbit. These are two great episodes. I love the production of this because you clearly see this show is being made. It's amazing for a show where all the production is like, we had no idea what was going on. Our friends are writing scripts. We were hiring people as we went, and so oh, it just come out perfect. It's like, oh, you little jammy gits. This shouldn't have worked, but it did. Yeah, these are great. These are a lot of fun. I love this Scarecrow. I love the joke. The Joker Batman stuff's great. Though, dear standards and practices, please up your game in future because you made a very big mistake in this episode, and I'm surprised it got through.
Hmm.
Scarecrow puts gasoline on money and lights it, and the fire is put out with water sprinklers. We can't be teaching children to put water on a gasoline fire. I expected better of you, censors.
those wacky censors. I also don't know what a jammy git means, but I am going to try to use that in my common parlance now.
Magnificent think magnificent bastard.
I like that. I like that a lot. I like that way better. But yeah, like they're banger episodes. I hearing about how troubled the production is actually kind of shocking for how kind of perfect Batman the Animated Series really is. It's so hard to imagine this not being a well-oiled machine, but I think the best art comes out of messy grodiness. As for whether or not Batman kills the Joker in The Killing Joke, I think that it's tempting. I think that if you want to believe if you want to believe in Batman, you want to believe that he didn't kill him. If you want to believe in Alan Moore really saying to suck it to DC, then Batman killed him. But but that's what I like about it. It's up for interpretation. But you know, it's not up for interpretation. Up for interpretation. Us pulling into our final destination. That's right. It is time for us to disembark from Toonami Absolution. We want to thank you once again in joining us and talking about the shows that made us us and the shows that made you you. We have been your hosts. My name is Alyx.
I'm Sam.
And I'm John.
And we'll see you next time. Bang.